What's going on, everybody? We have a new laser from OneLaser that's in the shop. So this is the OneLaser XRF. Let's get it unboxed and let's show you what's going on. Hang on tight. So before we get going too far, I want to try and make sure that I get everybody the information that they want to ask for. So I'm thinking about this ahead of time. Let's go ahead and get the dimensions of the crates. So this is the riser base that you'll see right there. And this is just over 42.5 inches. So we'll call it 43 by, we'll call it 22. And then about 11. So that's that top one. And then the actual laser itself is going to be about 47 by about 32. And then the actual box itself, not the actual crate or the pallet it's sitting on, is 12. So that gives you kind of the dimensions of the boxes that are going to be coming. And let's go ahead, we'll get this unwrapped and then just take a look inside of each of the boxes as we go. So before I get going too far, the actual weight of all of this, so stacked together, was 235. So 235 total. It's got multiple things listed on here, but it's all just one. So 235 was the total weight for all of this. They dropped it in my driveway, and I actually used a furniture dolly to get it into the garage. I am not a super strong person, but I can just kind of lift that. So I was able to lift it up and slide the furniture dolly under it and just wheel it into my garage. So not super heavy. If you had issues with it getting down a long driveway or something like that, probably two good-sized guys could go and lift this off the back of a truck, put it into another truck, no problem. Especially if you took it apart and you just did one box after the other. So now let's go ahead, let's get the plastic off, start opening boxes, and get a closer look. All right, so far that came apart pretty easy. Once I had all the straps taken off, both this top here, so the top and the actual sides all kind of just lift off. So it's pretty easy. And then it's got a fair amount of foam sitting in here just to keep it nice. But yeah, we'll go ahead, let's get the rest of the plastic off and just take a closer look. I'll probably need to go and get it up on a table so that way we can really get dirty with it. All right, so I got it moved off the crate and onto my CNC table temporarily. I have a spot that I'm actually setting up and clearing out in my basement to put this down there, so that way I'm warmer when I use it. But let's go ahead and let's get measurements just like we did before. So we're gonna go ahead, and the width is 42, almost 43. So I mean, the size of that box is almost as big as this, because it was 47 for the actual laser and 27.5. But you got this handle out here, so add maybe another inch, so 28.5. And then you're sitting about 11 inches. So those boxes, there's not too much more on top of that, but that is about the size of the laser. We'll do a quick walk around so you can kind of see everything. So you got your PC, camera, Ethernet. That's going to be your exhaust port. We're going to have to set that up. Emergency stop switch. And we got all the goodies inside. I don't think there's not really anything on this side. But yeah, so full of foam and all the other components that we're going to need in here. Your camera. And one nice thing about this is it does lift pretty much all the way up. So that way, I mean, you've got as much headroom as you possibly can when you're trying to get in here. But let's go ahead, I'll put you back on the tripod and we'll unpack all the goodies. So there's going to be your inline fan and ducting that goes on the back. So, and then there's all your extended ducting, package of all your other stuff. So you got cleaning supplies, you got cables, you got Ethernet cable. Yeah, so a bunch of test spots. So this is where all your goodies are going to be. There is a thumb drive or key for all this. So we'll look into that a little bit more. You've also got your power cable, tons of foam, and we'll go ahead and slide the gantry forward a little bit and get the rest of this foam out of here. Okay. All right, so taking a closer look inside the cabinet, let's get a measure of this honeycomb bed. So frame to frame, it is 25.5. The actual inside of the honeycomb itself, you're looking at just under 24, like almost 24. And then front to back, doing all this one-handed, you're looking at about 13.5 frame to frame. And then inside of the honeycomb, you're about 12 inches. So yeah, 12, 24, it's kind of what I'm saying it is. You probably have a little bit of slop there because whether the laser head, I mean, yeah, it looks like it's pretty close that it would reach right there. And then all the way on this side, it can actually, yeah, it'll extend pretty much to the full extent there. So the laser nozzle is actually right there. So it should reach everything inside of that honeycomb, left to right, and then forward. Yeah, probably about the same thing. It should reach all of the actual honeycomb. Looking around, so one nice thing that I am noticing is it looks like everything is enclosed off from where the tube lives. So this guy right here, that is not an opening. It is a semi-transparent lens, so it's actually coming through, actually probably not a lens, just more of a barrier. So the beam can shoot through there, but smoke can't go in. So that's probably another point to make sure that, you know, as you're doing your maintenance, that's cleaned. Your mirrors here are cleaned, mirrors here are cleaned, and then lens inside. But rotary, so there is a rotary plug back there. It is a 4-pin plug and with a little rotary switch to turn on that back there. So other than that, yeah, looking pretty clean and tidy on the inside. Not a whole lot of place for dirt, dust, stuff to go. I mean, on a lot of similar models or lasers, there's area in here for it to go that gets dirty. This seems going to be pretty clean. Like this vent here is going to suck out all your exhaust, and it's pretty much a straight shot straight out the back of the machine. All right, and this is one thing that was mentioned in the Facebook group, looking for these, on here they call them reverse compensation settings, but also known as your scanning offsets. So there's already a card, hey, this is what you should put into your software to get the best engravings possible. Another little fun thing is this thumb drive. Thunder. Okay, well, there you go. So again, in my last video talking about the specs, I had mentioned that these are going to be manufactured in the same factories and lines as your Thunder machines. So OneLaser is being produced by Thunder. The customer support, everything like that is all run by OneLaser, but Thunder is one of the manufacturers for the machine itself. So cool to see that in there. but not a whole lot of other stuff in here. I'm going to pull up, I believe the manual is probably on here. So let's take a look at that and just see if there's anything that we should highlight before we get going on putting things together. All right, so I looked at the thumb drive. I'm not seeing a manual. I saw a bunch of Thunder stuff on there. So I saw Nova, Bolt, the Aurora series. All that stuff is on that thumb drive, so I'm not sure why they gave it to us. But it doesn't look like it's that hard. Pretty much the only thing that I believe that we need to assemble is this. And we need to install it on the back. So that way we can hook up the ducting, get it vented. So we're going to go ahead and do that. But before, I want to take off the back cover and let's take a look at that RF tube and see how it's sitting in there and talk about it for a second. All right, so first comments on this is they really made this where they did not mean for you to get in this back area. There's these little screws that are all along the bottom, sides, everything, even inside of here, keeping this back case on. So I wanted it to open up so you guys could see what's going on, see how it looks in here. But here is your RF tube. So you can see with all these fans on top, it is air cooled, not water cooled. So there's not going to be any extra fluids or anything that you're worried about. Your cold temperatures, warm temperatures, whatever, it's just going to work. So pretty awesome. Tube is lined up, should be hitting all the mirrors. Here's this side. This is where the actual beam comes out, is right here. So beam goes there, then comes in here, lines up with your red dot. That's going to shoot through to that other little transparent lens or transparent deal there. I'm not even sure what to call it. But yeah, essentially like a shield that blocks from the back part to the actual inside cabinet of the laser. Electrical parts, power source, all your other stuff is in here, going to be drivers, all those things. So we're just going to stay out of there. But yeah, there's your tube, ready to go, ready to rock and roll. So I'm going to put this back together, and honestly, I'm going to put the fan on. I think we're going to fire this sucker up. So here is another shot closer of the exhaust vent. So this is where, like, it's basically a straight shot right in there into the inside of the machine where it's going to be pulling air. You've got your wire here that connects to the fan that I left inside here. But I'll show that as I connect it together. But should just be a connect, take these screws out and mount that on there. Then you can connect your ducting, get it vented. So with the back put back on, here is the label that's on here. So XRF, CO2, it is a 38 watt, the weight's in kilograms, 58, single phase. So your regular 110 is what I'm using. Your rated frequencies, 50 to 60, 4 amp is what it's saying is the full load current. Then my serial number, manufacturing date. So yeah, just for people that want to know. So here you go. As far as getting this fan on here, you've got the screws that are already sitting here in the case. So I'm going to take those out. They'll go into the back here and back into the machine. And I'm guessing since there's a label on the top here, it's going to go just like that. So that's how I'll set it up in there and just kind of tuck that wire back behind this shield kind of out of the way. So I'll get that on and we'll pick up. All right, so that is on. I do wish that the wire sat in there a little bit better. Right now I have it tucked up just kind of above here, but it's just kind of in the way. And I mean, it probably nothing gonna happen to it with the dust and stuff in there, but I just don't love it. Almost wish there was a better way for it to be kind of tucked away. But if you're wondering what the information on the fan is, that's what it looks like. But okay, now let's get ducting and power. Okay, so we are kind of put together. I've got the shroud, or like the back cover, put back on. We've got the vent and fan put in. Ducting is going out this way. Got my power hooked up. Right now, I will probably end up just ordering a longer ducting because where it's sitting right now, I'm a little short to get to my goal, which is just out the door for right now. So, but I'm going to fire it up. So I'm going to make sure my emergency stop is released. And there's the power on the back. And lights on. Okay, looks like it's initialized. This is all done, and oh, new electronics, removing the plastic. Best feeling ever. So we're just gonna see. So yeah, we're moving forward, backwards, left. Yep. So it's got the Z up and Z down, which is actually happening at the head. Oh, it doesn't like that. So Z down, you can see the head's moving, Z up. So everything looks like it's doing what it's supposed to. I can see red dot. So yeah, cool. Well, next, let's connect a laptop and let's burn something. Like, why the hell not? All right, so here we are, lasers fired up, got light burn up, and you're gonna see all my list of lasers and stuff. We're gonna do find my laser and say next. And it's scanning, reading, doing all the stuff, and we got things we can do. So we're gonna go with serial and add device, and we're gonna say XRF. And I mean, that gives you the rough measurements there. So the 23.62 by 1181. And so this rear left, it did home over here when I did it, because here is the little homing switch. So rear left is where it needs to be. We'll say next and finish. And then we'll just say okay. So we'll get the, now load up the XRF. Going to change sizes, and it is up and ready to go. So we'll even go to the move. So 3-speed, distance, so it's doing pretty small. Let's do just 1 inch as my movements. And as I press the arrows, I can see that it's moving ever so slowly, but that's just because my speed is super slow here. So let's change this to 100 millimeters a second for our speed. And now, there you go. Moves nice and quick. We'll go forward. Okay, and everything looks like it's going. So one other thing that I want to go in here and check. Nope, not there. Over here. So it doesn't have any of these offset settings in here that we had from the card. So I'm going to go ahead and put these in real quick and go from there. So I'll just pan to the next one. All right, so we've got these put in here now, so that way, ideally, if all this is right, I should be able to just run it. The one thing I wasn't sure is if this was inches or millimeters that this needed to be. So we will see. All right, so everything's up and running. I bypassed a switch so we could actually see this, but I set a box to 1200 millimeters a second and fill just to watch the head run and see if it stresses at all. So we'll go ahead, we'll hit start. Oh, buddy. That thing's moving pretty quick. I mean, this is real time. Not trying to fool you guys. All right, so another thing that I wanted to test before we actually ran a test was the autofocus. So what you can see here is the head here, it actually moves, it plunges into itself, so it should be able to touch and then focus. And there is a focus button, which is this guy, little target up here, not the middle one, this guy up here on this bar. It will actually go and focus. So I'm going to hit that. And you can see it touch down a couple times, and I'll do it again. I kind of missed it in the video. There you go. So now saying it's in focus and ready to go. So we'll get ready and run a test and go from there. All right, so it is Halloween right now. I mean, tomorrow is Halloween. So why not do some kind of pumpkin? So I've got this set up. I am going to run at 1200 millimeters a second at 30% power. This is just a shot in the dark. I have no clue whether this is good or bad, indifferent. And yeah, it's a 0.1 millimeter line spacing. So yeah, we're just gonna give it a try, see what happens. But yeah, 1200 millimeters a second and see what's going on. So we'll go ahead, frame it. Should get the corner there and hit start. So coming out pretty light, and I mean kind of to be expected. This is maple and we're going really fast. But holy crap, we're going really fast. So I think I'll probably end up running this again, hitting more power and see what happens. But seriously, look how fast that's going. And from here, it looks pretty good. I mean, as we get closer, we might see that maybe some scanning offsets need to be fixed a little bit, but that's pretty dang fast, and that image is looking pretty good. I mean, again, real speed, not trying to mess with you guys. All right, so there you go. I would say for me, doing nothing but turning the machine on, typing those numbers into the scanning offset and running that fast, that's pretty dang good. Obviously I could hit it with more power. I was only doing 30, and with these metal CO2 tubes, you can really push them up pretty dang close to full power. But yeah, looks pretty good to me. So I'm gonna reset it, run another test, and see if we can get darker. All right, set up for test number 2, 1200 millimeters a second, 60% power. That's 60% power is the only thing I changed. So we'll go ahead and frame it, and we'll run. I mean, so obviously right off the bat, much darker, a little bit more smoke, but I'm also not seeing like a bunch of like burn or residue on the sides. I mean, there you go. So double the power there. You can see a little bit more, maybe not so much in the camera. There's maybe some offset that can be adjusted. Like you could look at the tip of the nose and kind of see where there's 2 points on each of those triangles. So there's a little bit of a shift. But yeah, no sweat. We can fix that. But that was pretty dang fast, straight out of the box. Like literally, I've not done anything other than like bypass a switch. So I'm loving it so far. All right, so first thoughts, first looks, I'm pretty stoked about it. Those are some pretty killer speeds coming from a desktop machine, especially when you have products like the Thunderbolt that are out there that are really pushing a lot of these speeds. So this machine being able to run as fast as it did with minimal setup, I'm pretty excited. I think it's going to be a great machine, and I'm going to be doing more content to really show what it can do. Obviously, there's still the riser base to go into it, so that way you can get into your rotary stuff, deeper materials. But if this was helpful to give you an insight of what the machine looks like, please like, subscribe, look down in the description. I'll put a link to this machine so that way you can get your hands on it. And I'll also put my referral code, part of the Laser Guys, so that way you can support us in what we do in providing content for you. So thank you so much for watching, and we will see you on the next one.